Hi everyone. I will be doing a lesson on making change, fourth grade geometry and measurement. I don't have a student today, so I'm going to just try my best to paint the picture as best that I can. The TEK that I will be doing is solve problems that deal with measurement of length, intervals of time, liquid volumes, mass, and money using addition, subtractions, multiplication, or division as appropriate. So that will be, and mine is centered around a market day. That'll be the activity that they do, just so you know, with the materials that I'm going to show you next. So the materials for this, they would need a till to give out change. They will have pre-made plastic bags with money, a data collection sheet or a receipt, a pencil, scratch sheet of paper for them to take notes, or if they don't have enough room on their receipt. Market items with price tags, which I will show you in a second. A basket for shopping. If they are the shopper, there will also be a cashier. And then a calculator for sales tax conversion. And I'll explain why I'm allowing that in my lesson. The initial thing that the students would do before we start the lesson, they would say their learning intention, their math learning intention. I am learning to calculate a purchase total with tax and handing back the correct change by using mental math to count back what change is owed. So that would be the initial introduction to the lesson. Their previous knowledge or their background knowledge is going to be, they already know addition, subtraction, decimals, and multiplication by fourth grade. Vocabulary that we would have gone over is total, a subtotal, cashier, customer, change, purchase, receipt, and value. And the strategy for making change is going to be counting up. They can use a number line or they can use algorithm, again, whatever they are most comfortable with. And a tax, I just go over one more time with them that it's a way that the government can collect money from its citizens to pay for things like school, textbooks, and roads. This is just giving them a little insight as to what tax is. I don't know in fourth grade if they know exactly what it is, which is why I am allowing the calculator to calculate that part of this lesson, because the bigger picture is going to be them counting back change. And then I give them the algorithm for taxes. It's going to be the total of your purchase times the sales tax amount, which that is given to them 0.825. And then I would ask them at this point if they are done. They are not done. They need to add what is owed for tax plus the total purchase amount, and that will equal what they end up paying at the end of their purchase when they're checking out. So I do have a strategy video. And he basically just goes over how to count up. I'm going to skip over just a little bit.
You're a clerk in McDonald's, for instance, and someone comes in and they make an order, and after you figure it up, it comes out to $17.89. So you say, that'll be $17.89, please. So let's say the customer gives you a 20. All right, this is real simple now. The amount of the purchase is $17.89. So you simply count from that point up to the amount of money they gave you, and you'll have the correct change. So $17.89, you pick up a penny, that's $17.90. You pick up a dime, that's 18, 19, and 20. And then when you hand the customer the change, you count it back to them. You say $17.89, $17.90, 18, 19, and 20.
And so that will kind of just show them one strategy, which is the counting up strategy. And this will go into our whole group where the teacher is leading the lesson at this point. And so I would give them a scenario, which I have here, and it does have pictures in there for them. And so it has a desk, it has printer paper, and it has a monitor, and it says purchases for my home office. So again, I can make this into a storytelling, which is kind of why I like the video. It gives them a background. Somebody's buying something at McDonald's, they're going to owe this amount, and you're going to count up the change to get to count up what is owed to them to hand them back their change. So on here it has, I would ask the students to combine the three amounts to get my total. We would figure out the tax together, which again, I would let them know the algorithm that I've already given them. So that would give them an amount, and then how much the cashier is going to hand me back. So just for the sake of time, I went ahead. This would all be done on the board together. We would add up the three totals. The three amounts. We would get a total. We would add in the tax for the subtotal. The subtotal would be here. We would add the tax, which would give us the grand total of $110.78. I would then draw on the board a $100 bill and a $20 bill. And I would tell them that, what if the cashier only handed me back $5? They would be able to work with their elbow partner at this point, and most of them would probably already know that that's an incorrect amount, but I want them to understand why knowing change is important. And so had they only given me back $5, I would be short $4.22. So that is something that we would do as a whole group. And so on the next slide, I would actually have the manipulatives that they already have in their bag that they are able to work with. So it's starting with a total amount that I owed of $110.78, and that is shown here. I pay with a $100 bill and a $20 bill, and then here shows the change. So if I was counting back up from 79, 80, 90, that would be $111, $112, $113, $114, $115. Adding $5 more would give the $120 that I paid. So this would show that the change due would be the $9.22. So this is something we can do as a whole group. They would have worked with their elbow partners as well. At this point, again, giving the strategy of them counting up. And then the last part of our activity would be the group activity, which is the market day. This is going to take some time for the teacher to set up, and I'm going to show you everything that you would use. So they're now able to put their making change knowledge to use. They're going to have two pre-assigned groups. Half are going to be shoppers and half are going to be cashiers. They're going to need items to sell, and the teacher will have those items for them. Basket to shop. The cashiers will have a till with pre-made change in there, which that will be an extension of the lesson as well. So they want to know how much is given to them when they get their till. The shoppers will also have a bag. So they'll get a little baggie. It will have money. Those are the receipts that they're going to use to keep track of what they're purchasing. They both will use the back of the receipt if they need to. They can use scratch paper, and it is important that when I'm walking around, I want to hear them counting out their change. Each register is going to have a flyer, so let me show you what that's going to look like. So for the cashiers, they'll have a little till. Sorry, you can't see it that well, but it has money and change. They will also have almost like a little prompt, and I want them to be able to use that. And it says, your total is, so they would tell their shopper the total you paid with, what denominations they paid with, what was the total amount they paid with, and your change is, and I want to hear them count back the change. I want them to count out loud so they know if they're using the counting up strategy, or even if they flipped it over and they did algorithm, that's okay, but they should still be counting back that change. Again, both shopper and cashier will have a receipt that looks like this. And they can circle if they're the shopper or the cashier. They'll put their name, and this is how they keep track of everything. It will have a subtotal, the tax again, where they can use a calculator just for that portion, and then the total amount that is owed. And then they can just kind of flip it on the back, and they can do their strategy for how they're going to give that change back. Now, also in the market, the teacher can pre-set up things that they can buy. They will also have price tags on how they're going to keep track of everything, and you can list them at whatever dollar amounts. They don't have to be small dollar amounts. They can be larger. And then for accommodations, what they can also do is inside the bag, if it's a student that struggles, they can go out into the store with lesser amount of money, And on the receipts, they can have a lesser amount of fields that they can fill in for when they do go shopping. This may help them keep a little bit more focused, because if they grab 5 items instead of maybe 2 items, they might get a little bit flustered and maybe not be able to do it. If there's multiple students that struggle, they can partner up, as far as one is the cashier, one is the shopper, and they can kind of work together in order to do that. And then once that part of the lesson is done, I would have them come back together to their desks. One student can come up to the board. They can give us a scenario of how their shopping experience went. They can play everything out on the board, obviously listing strategy, how much change was given back. And I think the last thing that I would have them do before they walked out for the day is to create a story word problem with a partner. So 2 partners together, they can use maybe one of their receipts. They can tell me how they did it, but I want it in written form. And once that's done, I would let them know that if they're early finishers, maybe introduce them how to balance their till. And if not, then the next day I would let them know, if we went back to your tills and we counted, if we added up all of your receipts and we added up what was left in your till, and we came up with this algorithm, then we can figure out if we gave out the wrong amount of change. And it kind of just reiterates why it's important to give change and why it's important to understand how to use money. Debit cards are a thing, but I think it's always important for them to understand how to physically give back cash. So that is my Making Change lesson. I hope everybody's staying safe. Thank you.